Okay, everyone, this is a game from my tournament run. This is ADV Rev 3. This is round 2, game 3 against my opponent here, jozin457. I won the first game, they won the second game, so let's go to game 3. Let's see what happens to me in this one. So I'm going to lead off with my Tyranitar, and they lead off with a Zapdos. So they were most likely fearing a Rock Slide, but I'm actually using a mixed Tyranitar, so I went for Ice Beam. That was the hardest hitting attack I had, and it hits a Swampert. Not going to do much damage, so I run away into Swampert's greatest natural predator, which is a Celebi, but they ended up switching into Tyranitar. I don't exactly know why, but I'm here now, and I go for a Swords Dance on the Tyranitar, and they send in Skarmory. I'm like, okay, well, now that it's here and I have double the attack, it must be going for Roar. So I went for a Leech Seed here because, I'm about to get roared out, obviously. But they go for Spikes. And I was like, okay, I didn't really expect that. I'm okay with that. So you're Leech Seeded. So I just decided to Baton Pass now and go to my Aerodactyl because I was like, maybe they'll just go for more Spikes, which they actually do. So I thought that was a little bit odd, but I was like, oh, okay, well, now they're obviously going to be going for Roar because they expected, me to go to some physical attacker. And I go for Rock Slide expecting Roar, and they didn't get flinched, but they hit me with Drill Peck, right? So that Drill Peck did 26% HP. So my thought process was like, I'll just go for a substitute in case they get a low roll, because I guess they want to go for Drill Peck. They did go for Drill Peck, and the sub actually did not break. So I'm actually safely behind a sub, and I can just go for Double Edge and not risk the miss and just eliminate the Skarmory. So I'm actually in a really good position right now, despite them having spikes on my side of the field. I decided to go for Double Edge on the Celebi, but looking back on it, I think Rock Slide was better because if I got a flinch there, I might have been able to win this whole entire battle with just Aerodactyl by themselves. They break my substitute with Psychic. And, I don't want to miss, so I go for yet another Double Edge. It's going to eliminate the Celebi. And then they decide to send in their own Aerodactyl, which I think was the incorrect play because they should have sent in Swampert. As you're going to learn later on, Swampert has a water move to unalive me. So I actually win the speed tie, which is a 50-50 shot, obviously. But they send in Swampert, who has Hydro Pump, which I get is not 100% accurate, but 80% is better than 50%. Like, they should have sent this guy in. It would have been a lot safer versus the Aerodactyl. But they send in Swampert now. It lives a Double Edge, and then I just get unalived by Hydro Pump. So I send in my Magneton here. And of course, I'm not doing anything risky. My Magneton has Hidden Power Grass, don't worry. And I didn't care if they went to Zapdos or Tyranitar, because I would have just Thunderbolted the Zapdos and then or Thunderbolted the Tyranitar. But I just take out the Swampert instead. So they bring in Zapdos here, and I was a bit disappointed with my Magneton's performance. I get paralyzed by Thunderwave here, and then I just get fully paralyzed. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go for Thunderwave this next turn, right? And then they go for Thunderbolt here. And then I just got fully paralyzed. I was like, okay, well, I mean, who really cares, right? I mean, I still have a big lead on this opponent of mine. So Magneton obviously goes down with doing very, very little. It unironically took out a Swampert of all things. So I sent in my Tyranitar, because remember, it's a mixed Tyranitar. I've got Ice Beam. If they switch in their own Tyranitar, mine actually has Brick Break, so I will take them out after an Ice Beam and a Brick Break. They just decided to paralyze me, and I think I know what's going on, and I was actually right about this. They paralyzed me because, why do you think, guys? Take a wild guess. Well, they decided to go for Thunderbolt on me, but I know what's coming. I go for Ice Beam on the Zapdos, take it out. And then they send in Tyranitar. I wonder what's going to happen next. So, obviously, this is their last-ditch effort. So, they go for a Dragon Dance, right? Because they need to be able to basically sweep my whole team. So, like I said, I have Brick Break, so it does a lot of damage. It's not going to one-hit it, though. But, one more Brick Break, that's it. And they have to go for another Dragon Dance because they don't know what I have in the back. And they need to one-hit everything to win this battle. They're so far behind. And then I just went for another Brick Break and took them out. And that is going to be the whole battle. That was a pretty quick one. A lot of hyper offense. They actually messaged me on Discord after this battle that they thought that their biggest mess up was they told me that their Skarmory had Taunt. As we saw, it had Spikes, Drill Peck. So I guess it had Taunt and something else. Which yeah, because when I sent in their Skarmory was on my Celebi, right? And I just went, as you can see, my Celebi doesn't even have any attacking moves that I revealed at least. So I figured they would go for taunts if they had it, but I was like, No, they would just go for roar, but they actually didn't either. They just did spikes and drill peck. So I think that was yeah, probably their biggest mistake, because then the whole thing with Aerodactyl happened. I don't even know if that thing had roar or not. I might have had toxic and taunt. I'm not sure, but I was very I got very lucky, I guess. It shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. So my Aerodactyl was able to just blast through the whole team. Like I said, them going in their Aerodactyl, I get the idea. You know, if you win the speed tie, you kill my Aerodactyl. But they had a much, much safer option with Swampert, as I mentioned earlier. So they could have gotten rid of my Aerodactyl safely, right? I mean, they could have missed, but they had a much higher probability of getting more out of that exchange had they just brought in Swampert. And then they could have saved their Aerodactyl in the back. So that was another thing that happened. But in any case, good games to jozin457. Those are all very close. I guess I kind of ran away with the third game, but games 1 and 2 are very close. And if they just simply taunted my Arrow or Celebi, probably would have had some trouble with that team, because my team's very physically offensive, with the exception of Magneton. So I would have had a difficult time with like that Celebi, Swampert, and Skarmory for sure, and maybe even Zapdos too. So at the time of this recording, so this set versus this opponent, I went 2-1. I won the set. So my tournament, my tournament. That's a new word if you didn't know. My total record in this tournament run is now 2-0. I'm 2-0 in ADV 3 at this moment. So I think you got to get like 7 wins or so to make it to the final bracket, which I believe is 32 people. Me personally, I think there's absolutely no shot in hell that I'm going to make it there, but we'll see how far I can get. At the very least, I'll get to round 5, because if you get 3 losses, you're out. So at the very worst, we're going 2 and 3. So stay tuned for that. I will be uploading my tournament games just like this. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.